China's financial hub is up and running again. Residents of Shanghai are allowed out after 2 months of lockdown. I bet they're hoping to never go through an ordeal like that again. But there are signs the state's COVID-0 strategy could be here to stay, possibly for years. There are reports that officials are setting up networks of tens of thousands of testing booths in economically important cities. The goal is to have swabbing points just a 15-minute walk away. It'd allow testing as often as every 48 hours. A negative result will get you onto the subway or into a store. China's the only country in the world to contain the highly transmissible Omicron variant. But it's hurt business and meant personal sacrifices for millions of people, which we'll touch on in a moment with our correspondent. As the curbs are rolled back in some cities, they continue to weigh on confidence and demand, although the latest economic numbers do point to a slight overall improvement. Zhonghan Zhou joins us from our Taipei office. China's Purchasing Managers Index has rebounded, so has its non-manufacturing business index. What do the numbers tell us?
The main reason for the rebound in the manufacturing sector is the reduction in the number of areas affected by the pandemic. The continued decline in the number of new infections per day, the marginal warming of the supply chain and production, and the general increase in the startup rate of key industries. Among them, the production index of chemical fiber and rubber and plastic products, special equipment, automotive, and other industry in May was more than 10 percentage points higher than the previous month. Many believe that the indicators of industrial production, consumption, and employment have been low since April, and the macro policy will increase its support to stabilize growth in the second half of May.
So Beijing has unveiled a detailed stimulus plan to shore up economic growth. What are the takeaways from that?
Well, first of all, in terms of fiscal policy, China will implement value-added tax credit refund on a large scale and the increased government procurement to support small and medium-sized enterprises. Financial institutions are asked to lend money as soon as possible and not to blindly withdraw or cut off loans. There are also measures to stabilize employment and flexible monetary and financial policies for those hit by the pandemic. The government also supports the listing of Chinese enterprises in Hong Kong and promotes the overseas listing of qualified network platform enterprises. In terms of stabilizing investment and promoting consumption, specific measures are developed to support the platform economy. And to protect the basic livelihood of the people, the policy allows enterprises affected by the pandemic to defer payment of Housing Provident Fund.
What do you reckon, though? Is it enough to offset the damage of all those lockdowns?
Yes and no. The overall direction is correct. The least that can be done is to stabilize enterprises is to avoid a wave of bankruptcies and high unemployment. The loss of employment opportunities for the people will definitely affect consumption. However, some would argue that the main goal of the 30-plus measures is to preserve the lifeline of China's enterprises. There's not much concern for the real people's livelihood. There's not enough attention to the family and the individual. Families have been hit by the recession over the years, especially by the pandemic in recent years, and many of them have no income, no household spending, causing a major problem in their ability to survive. Household debts directly creates a debt crisis for families. This will probably offset the support for small and medium-sized enterprises.
That insight from Zhonghan Zhou in Taiwan. Thank you very much.